Well, hello there. My name is Dave Bila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and responsibilities of the comments and do not necessarily represent the views of this program or the three amigos to my left. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but absolutely no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled nor denied. Any unauthorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of us three is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the discussion, the participants, and I hope you enjoy the program. First of all, I want to wish 50 states of the United States a happy birthday, because this particular flag was given to when I was director of the IC Baseball League. We built a ball diamond in front of the Indiana State Prison, and Tim Romer was then, I believe, our representative.
Yep.
And his office sent me this particular flag that flew over our nation's capital in the early 80s. And every once in a while, I drag it out and refold it and look at it and remember. It reminds me of what we accomplished here in Michigan City in regards to baseball is concerned. But again, the park department did what they did by building the place down south of 421 that prevented a lot of little kids from the west side to get out there and play baseball. But that was their decision that they made, and now Bill, I believe it's Bill Williams, who was a player in the IC Baseball League, he's now resurrecting baseball within the park department. They just have to find ways to get the kids out there. I was at the park department building yesterday to get my picture taken because, according to the Senior Citizen newsletter, representatives of the if you don't have this asterisk by your name, you're criticized by Terra, because they initiated a new program that all of the members of the Senior Citizen Center need their pictures taken to go into the cloud for some reason. So I got my picture taken, and I just started walking around the Senior Center, and I saw some bicycles that were in the front of the Senior Center that they want to raffle off. This is December the 11th. So I bought 16 raffle tickets for not a bicycle, but a tricycle, but an adult-sized tricycle. And I inquired, what's the bikes about? And the lady at the desk said, well, you can sign one of those bikes out. That's all you have to do is sign a waiver or a release of liability, and you can take that bike and ride around Washington Park. And I thought, wow, what a unique idea. I'm 82 and I can't ride a bicycle because balance-wise I can't keep it upright, but a tricycle. So I think next, maybe Monday or Tuesday next week, I'm going to go and sign this waiver and take a ride through Washington Park on a bicycle. Compliments of the Michigan City Senior Citizen Center. I want to compliment Tara. She initiated this idea, and how neat it sounds to me, that because obviously if you first of all park your car and then get out and then go someplace, you have to get back in your car to get back to the point where you originated from. This way you can hop on a bike and pedal around Washington Park. You could pedal around.
Well, just do us all a favor. Don't fall off the trike.
But anyway, I thought it was a good idea. I said at the time that I'm going to talk about this concept, and who knows, maybe this may grow into something bigger that people can, that the Senior Citizen Center can lend out tricycles to some of their residents who are capable of pedaling around the zoo. I don't know if you can get into the zoo with that bike. But again, I see it as something positive happening in Michigan City. So anyway, I bought 16 tickets on the raffle that they're going to hold December the 11th on those tricycles. And who knows? I may win, I may not, and if I like it enough, I might buy one. I've been thinking about it, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice. Additional activity in Washington Park can't be that bad. So that's what I accomplished so far this year. Yesterday, I got other documentation that Bob and I are in disagreement with, but I'll leave that in abeyance until the topic comes up.
Well,
Bob?
when you're educated in a LaPorte school system, sometimes you have those problems. But I want to start with
Now,
this.
see
Time
that?
out, time out.
Just like my
Time
wife.
out, time
Just
out.
cut me down.
Time out.
But I'll tell you what, when you said it, I'll bring it up. If you compare the two schools between what Michigan City is getting from Google and what LaPorte is getting from Microsoft.
Starting with 21 sectionals in a row, where LaPorte looked so dumb trying to play basketball.
I don't care about basketball. I care about money and education. And when the school city of LaPorte is getting a 15% windfall on all of the taxes that Microsoft pays.
Could we start with the Declaration of Independence?
Yes, we have, and we've had that for how long?
Let me go.
Go ahead.
I did a little research. A number of analysts have come up with the thought process that if you look at various governmental documents, probably if you take them sentence by sentence, the most important sentence that they could come up with in any governmental document was one that went like this, written by Thomas Jefferson. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, in the Constitution, we put forth what the meanings of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness really entails. And that's the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. But I thought I'd compare that to some of the other statements that have been made during my lifetime, during the lifetime of the board. But I wanted to first of all start with Magna Carta. There probably isn't that's the very first start of English freedoms and ultimately our freedoms. But there probably isn't a sentence in Magna Carta that does what that sentence in our Declaration of Independence does. So, if you compare them to, now I started with Franklin Roosevelt in December 8th, 1941, when he addressed Congress. He talked about, we have been struck by the Japanese Empire. He was asking for a declaration of war. And what he talked about is the Japanese Empire struck us, and we knew nothing about it until it happened on December 8th, 1941, a day that will forever live in infamy. And the key part is a day that will forever live in infamy. I flash forwarded it to John Kennedy, who on his inauguration speech in March 1961, I believe it was March, could have been January, but I think it was March, made the following. Ask not what your government can do for you, rather ask what you can do for your government. I fast forwarded that one to Ronald Reagan in 1968, about 25 yards from the Berlin Wall. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. These are some of the more fantastic governmental statements that have been issued by our leaders. But there is no sentence in any of those that a number of analysts will tell you compares to. We are endowed by our Creator, meaning God, with certain unalienable rights, meaning that we can't sell these rights, we can't give them away. They are ours as a birthright in this country. From there, I took it one step further, and I looked at a speech that was given by Winston Churchill in 1948 at Westminster College in Missouri, where he talked about the countries of Eastern Europe have been shadowed and are no longer a part of our system. They are come under the umbrella of an Iron Curtain. That Iron Curtain term stood for a long, long time. Today, we have many countries in Eastern Europe that do not fall under the old USSR, United Soviet Republics, do not fall under the Iron Curtain. Ukraine is one of them. But for, 50 years, there was an Iron Curtain, just as Winston Churchill described it. Yet even that, most of these analysts will tell you, that that particular sentence in the Declaration of Independence is even more important than the theory of the Iron Curtain. With that, I'll pass it back.
Okay, John F. Kennedy asked not what you can do for your country,
Yeah,
but what you said government. And Ronald Reagan was 1988.
1988, I believe.
1988.
Okay.
But yeah, I like what's the debate going on right now with whether you like it or not, the Second Amendment. What's the Second Amendment say? People think it gives you the right to have guns. It doesn't say that though.
No, it gives you
Right to bear arms.
It says that your rights shall not be infringed in any way. It doesn't give you the right. It says your right is there.
There.
Like you start, it's
Right.
there. It's there from the beginning, and shall not be infringed. It's very clear.
Yeah.
And we're infringing it all over. And again, what was the Thomas Jefferson quote? I'd rather live in dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery. And
Okay.
somehow we give things up. And there was a lot of discussion about the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the amendments that we would be wise to go back and read. Letters between each other, things they published, because everyone talks about which other way you agree the Constitution is. Is it a living document or is it not? And you could go back and read all the letters and all the correspondence that our founding fathers talked about, and people want to say that they could never see this coming. And it's kind of eerie that in the letters and correspondence to each other, they can see all this coming. And they wrote things to try to protect America and its freedom in the Constitution, in the independence, and all the amendments that we have. So I don't, and we have, it's not like the days of old where you get your encyclopedia up or you go to the library. You can go on your phone, you can search up all this things that they published around the time of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and all the amendments, and you'll find out what they really thought and what their intent was.
Let me just talk about the situation that we are looking at in terms of the difference between 1776 and today. But yet, to me, and I think to a lot of other people, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution became the rule of law, and it still holds sway. But just for some numbers, in 1780, because we didn't have a decennial census like we do today, so the first effort at how big was the United States, they came up with 2.9 million people. Today, in 2025, 342 million. That's a significant growth in population. Back then we had 13 states. Today we have 50. The next thing they measured was our land mass. In 1783, we had 800,000 square miles. Today we have 3.6 million square miles. The country has changed significantly. But what was adopted from the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution is a rule of law until that's changed. And we always talk about, we are governed by the rule of law.
You bring up a good point, because people say lots of things, and the founders knew that things might change, and they have given us the opportunity.
Yeah.
And you could change it, but there are steps you have to take. You don't just willy-nilly go and start changing things, and this happens on both sides of the aisle. You do have the opportunity. Through the 50 states and the Constitutional Convention, you can change things, if either side, if they choose to. And I'm always dismayed that we have a lot of talk and a lot of politics that go on, that people say things, but they're just really talking. They don't really want to go through the effort to change things. And there are many items, there are many issues that if you pull them, they are far and away 70, 80, 90% approved. But it seems like our people who want issues changed don't want to go through the work to change them.
Yeah, that's one of
Because you can, and I think it would be a winner. If you wanted to change the Second Amendment and you came up with something and went through a constitutional convention, I bet you'd have a majority.
But if you change judges and you get judges who don't really believe in the rule of law, that is what they are looking to try to change the Constitution.
My new feeling this week was, we have not just judges, we have lots of people and groups that think it's not just their right, but their duty to adjudicate things themselves and put their own spin on what they think society should be. And that is a problem in all over the world, and that is inherent in us being humans and the way we are, because we don't want to be losers, we want to be superior. So people think that they are the smarter, superior person, and they think they can adjudicate what's going to go on for society or any law. And that's just something that's inherent in us being humans. And that is the beauty, that's why I talk about Thomas Jefferson, of being the 4th of July. That's the freedom we enjoy, the freedom we hold, the freedom we work for, and these rights, they might be law, but if they're not defended, they're worthless.
And the next thing I wanted to mention was, well, first of all, happy 4th of July. We've had some bad weather, some very hot weather, but hopefully people will be able to get out there and enjoy it. And I can tell you, they're enjoying it in the restaurants. Man, those restaurants are full. Try to get a seat, it's a 30-minute wait. I'm just happy when they give us a seat and they get our drinks. After that, you can take an hour to make the food, which is going on in a lot of restaurants.
And they bring you good, hot, well-prepared food.
And enough of it. They're not cheating on the food.
Good people.
Yeah. I want to talk about, first of all, we've talked about Michigan City and LaPorte. We've got a major development in Michigan City. They advertised that in July, the Franklin Apartments, which are at the South Shore Station, would start to take reservations for move-in in August. We need to see if that's going to hold. But I hope it does hold. That will give us more people downtown. I'd also like to make the announcement that the U.S. will play Belgium in the Cup, the Soccer Cup, and it's Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 o'clock our time or Midwest time. One more, the U.S. plays Belgium in Seattle, Washington, in soccer, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Midwestern time. So put your TVs on. It was a great soccer game, a 90-minute soccer game. And then I realized, my son told me, that they also, even though they don't slow down the game during the regular 90 minutes, they keep track of the minutes and they add those on at the end. So
The head referee is the only one that holds the clock.
Oh, okay. Yes, the head referee.
The head referee holds the clock. So no one really knows, which I think is wrong, if the head referee is holding the clock and he's adding time because there was a red card and other things went on. In any soccer game, it's kind of confusing, but the head referee, no one knows when the end of the game is until the head referee says stop. He's the only person holding the clock.
But it was 90 minutes, actually, 100 minutes of really interesting and delightful.
I thought I'm biased, but I thought USA had to play their hearts out because they didn't want USA to win. Well, I mean, it seems like they did. And this is not soccer. I want to go a little bit. I played soccer since I was a little kid. This is not the soccer I watched played when I was a kid. If you jerk somebody's jersey or push them, you would get a yellow card when I played soccer. This is like the WWF of soccer. They are yanking jerseys. They're pushing people down on both sides. They're kicking people. They're doing very dangerous things, and we're just letting it go. I think if the refs would say, listen, tell both teams, if I catch you yanking on somebody's jersey or pushing them down, red card, you're out. I don't want to see any of it. This is a sport. We've lost the statesmanship, in my opinion, in soccer. Well, this has gotten very brutal and very personal between soccer players. And I, as a kid, I'm not going to tell you the teams we played in high school. There were teams that played nasty and dirty. And we all knew who they were. And I didn't feel bad. I wasn't really mad at them because they were the teams I knew who were inferior. And they had to do that to beat the teams that were definitely superior in skills in the soccer teams, but they had to play, I want to say it, they played dirty. They yanked jerseys, they pushed people around, they pinched you, they pulled your arm, they punched you. That's just not the soccer that I think we should be watching, but it's a fun watch.
Well, I thought there was a very unfair red card.
Oh, it was completely unfair.
The U.S.'s best player.
From a no card to a red card, from a no call to a red card, and now my understanding in
he's not going to be allowed to play.
Well, he can't play, but in my understanding of the world, you cannot appeal that because, and they set that referee up. I mean, people might be mad at that ref, but the the people, other people, the other refs watching the game told him to go look and review it. And under the rules, my understanding is if you are told to go look at a no call, your only choice is a red card or a no call. So he was stuck. I think he should have said no call. It was unintentional. I mean, I think the United States really run by 2 more goals than they should have. I think it was a brilliant kick that if you play soccer and you see that kick that he made the goal over their heads, that is a 1 in a million, very hard shot to make in any soccer world. And he did it. So I personally thought it was, they should have had 2 more goals than they did. And I can tell you that come Monday night, don't get too upset because it looks like the world does not want the United States to win. I don't think it'll be a fair game. But we'll see.
Okay, I'd like to talk a little bit about Washington Park again, ladies and gentlemen. Washington Park has a 24/7 security, camera security in place with these flock cameras. They read your license plate as you drive into Washington Park. The flock cameras read your license plate 24/7. The park department is open from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening, but there's a lapse of time in which the residents of Michigan City can traverse through Washington Park and see a sunset and feel secure. The flock cameras, it's all done electronically. It's not done with your device. You register the amount of time that you want to stay in Washington Park. You pay for that area that you're parking in. And if you exceed your parking fee 15 minutes, electronically, Big Brother comes down to the residents who drive around in golf carts and inform them there is a 4 boxes on their cell phone that if a red box shows up, it shows that you are in violation.
But not for everybody. If you have a sticker,
You are correct. If you have a Michigan City sticker and if you're registered as a Michigan City resident through the park department, you're not abused by this system. These are for people who want to kite the system, who want to bring in their boat and trailer before 8 o'clock in the morning and fish all day and pay for an hour's worth of parking. That don't cut it. They have to pay for 2 parking spaces. Because of this license plate reader, they have to pay, and if they exceed their parking, whatever they paid for, by 15 minutes, they're going to get nailed with a $47 fine. This is an opportunity for the park department to generate money, to pave the area, to put in new parking facilities, to clean up the park, and to make improvements. I drove by this morning. The place is packed. Sure. And there are people utilizing their cell phone, going to this little green pad, yeah. and so I see it as a positive thing in Washington Park. In years past, Washington Park had some unfortunate situations where a group of people sort of attended there and they found unusual things that now, with the utilization of the flock cameras and these people driving into the Washington Park who don't pay, they can be identified, and maybe if the public only knew the security that is now in place, 24/7 security, they may come down to the park and enjoy our beautiful beach.
I hope so. But I want to talk about the flock cameras.
Good.
Mayor Angie did a very good thing. She held a public workshop. You can watch it on Elko on the website. Did you watch it? I pulled it up and I watched it. I was very proud that some of the people were asking about the flock cameras and their rights and what they're gathering. Again, thank you, Mayor Angie, for holding this. It was a very tough thing to do. But the flock people, I'm not going to say they lied, but they sure didn't tell the truth. They didn't. They walked around everywhere. They were like a politician. Because people asked them very good questions. I was very proud of the people who were very good and asked them very poignant and educated questions. They said that they permanently delete the information. They said AWS. Anyone know AWS stands for Amazon Web Services?
Maybe a certain facet.
So
but
they
not
say
everything.
that Flock says that information is permanently deleted. Some individual says no, that's not true. because we saw that with the Guthrie case, and it was the cameras on the houses. The feds found a way to go back and pull data. I can guarantee you, these data centers are not, you could say just like you got to be careful, even on your computer, your phone, or any storage device. When you think you permanently delete something, all you're deleting is the index that points to the place that it's stored. If somebody would get a hold of the computer and do a forensic analysis, and you could do this on your own computer, there's free services, you can go back and pull files that you thought you deleted. It's still there. Until another file overwrites that on your drive, it's still there. The index is gone, but the file's still there, and that's what the smart technical people are doing with the feds. Another thing they said, which I thought was not accurate in any way, is that the Michigan City Police have the right to share this with whoever they want, and they can refuse. Not in Indiana. And in fact, I think Maryville and another community are being sued by the Attorney General because they said they will not share information with ICE or the federal government. They have no right to say that in Indiana. We have a law in Indiana, and if you don't share it, you will get sued by the state of Indiana, and the Attorney General, and Todd McKee is suing them right now. So that was completely disingenuous by the Flock people to say that. They either didn't know, which I hope is the truth, or they didn't tell the truth. They had to know. And then another individual says, well, you guys, this Flock camera is not just reading license plates, readers. You can see who's in it, bumper stickers, dents on cars, colors, type, model. And they said, no, that's not true. Again, in the East Coast, Flock is sending out a contract to potentially get people to serve tickets or fines for people who are on the cell phone or people not wearing seatbelts. So Flock and that workshop said it's only for readers. How is that possible if the Flock Corporation is trying to enter into contracts on the East Coast to give tickets to cell phone users and seatbelts? Those two do not mix. And these individuals who are from the Flock Corporation said that? I can't believe that they didn't know that their corporation is right now trying to enter into agreements to give these fines to people who are on their cell phone or not having their seatbelt on. So they must be able to look at more than their license plate. I don't blame Flock for coming here. They were trying to say as nice as they could to keep it in line so we would be happy that we knew that thing. But the one thing they didn't bring up, which happened what? A week ago? 2 weeks ago? We didn't talk about that thing. The Supreme Court ruled that you cannot take a wide swath of area and look for a criminal and take a wide swath of innocent people or guilty people you don't know without a court order, without swooping up people that are innocent. And the Supreme Court just ruled that. It's done. I did see, what's his name, the police chief came in front of the council, and he alluded to, Forker, he's a good man. He alluded to the fact that this was going to be ruled one way or another, and now we know. So what is Flock or anyone going to do when, I want to get to this, I believe that they scoop up, when a crime happens, they alert the Flock cameras in the area, pretty much everywhere, looking for something. And they're scooping up all the data. Now they're narrowed down to one person, but they're scooping up everyone's data to look for this criminal. I think the Supreme Court ruled that's illegal. And we're going to find out what words they parse, because Flock, they're a corporation and they make a profit. I believe they're even listed publicly. Mm-hmm. And they have stock. And they have a duty to their stockholders to make a profit. I believe the thing about the last thing, I believe the thing that they called this meeting for was they were going to introduce a drone in the Flock system. I believe
we're going to have all kinds of drones.
I think Michigan City is going to add a drone so they could get to a crime or something happens faster. I have a drone. I work with people. We fly drones for many things in surveying engineering world. And I can tell you that if there's two kinds of drones, there's a drone with a copter, which you usually see, copter blades, and there's a fixed wing drone. I don't know which one they're talking about. But if you have winds, and I'm going to say, in my experience, 15, 20 mile an hour winds, that drone is not going to do it. That drone will get pushed around. There are most of the times when we're doing drone work, you cannot fly. because of the winds and the weather.
Well, they've got drones now that they're using in war. It will be,
Well, these
very
are-
quickly, they will be copied. And
Those drones are huge. Those are like airplanes.
Yeah.
I'm talking even a fixed wing as big as this table.
Yeah.
That drone has trouble in the wind.
But the issue that I brought up is security in Washington Park that did not exist prior to
Yes, we
Flock.
have security in Washington Park.
Right, and
but
that's
the
a
Flock-
start. That's
but-
a start. And again, you got to take some of the good with some of the bad. If they can focus in on Flock and Washington Park and leave it at that point, it makes sense to me.
You have to realize how much freedom you want to give up
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
security. I started this out. And this one person, I'm thankful that they brought that up. I think it was a lady. She said, I would rather not spend 400 some thousand on the Flock system and have more police officers so they would be out in the neighborhoods, in the streets, and be present. Because they feel that's more important to have police out there. And I feel bad because I think the police are awesome, but to get out there, to get in more, and I'm really happy that they start interacting with the public more. And they need to be out there. They need to know, and they know which cars are not supposed to be in town. They know who the troublemakers are. They know who's in what neighborhood they are. And that's not easy. But it's real easy that once a crime's committed, I pull up Flock and I say I'm looking for this kind of car. So they're scooping up, because usually they don't have a plate number. They're scooping up innocent people and they're tracking you and they're looking for this car. And then it pops up, and then they go get the person and they arrest them. I think it's a good tool, but I think the better tool is the police to be in the neighborhoods, to know one-on-one who the neighborhoods are, who the kids are, who the cars are, who's coming into town on the weekend.
I believe with what I've been exposed to, they already know the targeted areas of
Oh, sure
Michigan
they do.
City.
Then that's where the
already-
shot spotters and the Flock
That is
cameras
correct.
are.
That is correct.
Is that acceptable that we have, and as
Until-
far as we talk about people and we talk about racial profiling, now we're talking about social profiling because we have shot spotters and cameras in neighborhoods that we
And
are know are questionable.
I can relate to your argument, but the idea is security.
And how much
How
you will
far?
free?
How far do we want to go? How far do we want to
You want
go?
them scooping up your information? They are.
They've already known. Hey, you punch in your name on a computer, and you'll see a dossier of all of your
The
activities.
Supreme Court ruled you have a right to be free unless you have a court order or a warrant. They cannot be scooping up your
But
information.
Tony Hendrix's name on the computer, if you punched
Oh,
it
yeah.
up, you're already there.
Oh, yeah.
It's already there. This is an opportunity to secure Washington Park. That's the only reason why I brought it up, and I see it as a positive thing, and it will make people more comfortable in going down to Washington Park, which will enhance economic development in Washington Park, and maybe you'll see these food trucks coming in, and maybe you'll see more money for lifeguards and so on. I can't see it as a negative thing. In regards specifically to Washington Park and our beachfront.
Well, could I get in a
Yeah.
different area that I'd like
I
to
want
talk
to go to economic
about?
development.
Because I think it's very important for us. And that is an area that we've debated now for several times on this program. But the governor has come out and announced that all city, towns, counties will be reimbursed for any loss of gas tax revenues. So the state will take care of that.
Yep.
So Michigan City doesn't get the amount of money that it should have gotten
And where's he getting the money?
out of the state.
Out of the rainy day fund.
Well, yeah, I got that, but it's the difference between what the rainy day fund is set up as and the amount that's being contributed to that rainy day fund.
As a Republican, you are 100% economic in development, right? 100% economic growth, right? You want the capitalism to grow, right?
But you also have to have people grow along with that.
Yeah.
We understand that. And we know that you're going to have school systems.
Yeah.
You're going to have streets.
Yeah.
These people can get to work. You're going to have them be able to make car payments.
Yeah.
Be able to pay rent. And that's one of the big things that the governor was looking at when he suspended the gas tax.
I agree. So we were wrong. I was wrong last week. I said 50 million a month. It's 140 million a month, but the math still adds up. That's why I want to ask Bob. If we are for economic increase in our state, in our city, and we can suspend the 63-cent gas tax and pay it out of the rainy day fund, Why don't we just
It's
get
not
rid
out
of it?
of the rainy day fund. The rainy day fund has a legal amount. It's 2 billion. It's the excess of that. 2
Okay,
billion.
whatever it is, why don't we just get rid of the gas tax? 140 million a month is 1.68 billion a year, and we're already collecting that money. I think if you got rid of the 63 cents, and everyone, and that's the news people are talking about nationwide, how Indiana gas is really cheap. And people are coming over, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, and people that want to move here, that want to get out of high tax areas, would move here, and that would be another incentive if they knew there was no gas tax and you could buy gas at $2 a gallon. That would be a huge economic motivator. So the governor has proved it works, that all this is really helping out people get to work and the roads. So let's just get rid of it, because we already got $3.2 billion in the fund. Why does a Republican governor want to keep fees and taxes when he knows he doesn't need to?
Because the state has to get funds from someplace. Now,
Well, they have an extra.
Hold on a second. I'm about to agree with the Democrats, believe it or not, but I've had this for a long time. I think if you're going to do away with the tax, you do away with the sales tax on utilities. Electric, heat, gas, the water and sanitation, the major utilities that people have to have.
I would say you could give a tax break for a base amount. And if somebody's using a god-awful lot of water in the utilities and electric because they keep their house at 50 degrees, then they should pay. So a basic amount should be tax-free.
I'll settle for a credit.
Okay.
Michigan City, this community crossing fund, Michigan City is going to get roughly $717,000.
And they have to match it.
And they have to match it to improve our roads. Where's that money coming from?
They've set that money aside, which again is Indianapolis graciously giving us some money back that we already gave. But they're taking their percentage of the top, their administration fees coming off the top. Again, if we would be able to capture our funds for our roads in our communities, whether it be the Michigan City, the Port, County, the Port, whatever it is, if they captured their own funds, why do we send it to Indy? They chop some money off the top. They make you go through, it's this many pages, you should see it. And they make you do all this other stuff before you even have the opportunity to ask. And now they put out this great press release on how they're graciously giving us back some money as long as we match it. Again, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and everything else at that point were people, very smart people, very talented, gifted people, who are getting away from the king. And now what have we done? We seem to have brought the king back.
And I want to bring up a referendum that nobody really knows about yet, but it's on the horizon for this November the 11th election. And the referendum is charging each and every individual property owner approximately $260 a year to fund the Michigan City area schools. Are you guys aware of that
$80
referendum?
million.
Are you aware of that, Bob?
No, I wasn't. but I
$80
know,
million.
I was guessing they would have to do something because of the debt situation.
Well, in 2013, when Burrow was still alive, he was in opposition to this referendum in 2013, and the residents of the LaPorte County, I believe, voted it down.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, didn't we have one not too long ago?
In 2013.
They voted no.
They voted no. Now, again, if you go back to some of my research about the money that the Redevelopment Commission is withholding from the TIF district to the school system, and since 2000,
Wait, how much was that? How much a year can they ask for?
15. Well, right now it's 10%. Before the January 1st of, I believe, last year, it was 15%. If you go back to the initiation of the TIF district, the school cities were entitled to 15% revenue derived from the revenue on new construction within the TIF district, and the Michigan City Redevelopment Commission failed to provide the entire amount to the Michigan City area schools. They used the concept that, well, Michigan City has to request it. Well, Michigan City area schools, I guess, didn't request it and didn't really know, but It was a.
Wait a minute, we paid people lots of money. We got controllers in there.
Well, somebody
We've got
screwed up.
somebody running for the board, the school board, sure as hell should have known that.
Somebody
Don't
should
sit there and say, well, it's just too bad. No, it's not. We had people that were responsible and nothing was ever done about it.
And that goes, among other things that I have discovered, that the city of Michigan City is not informed as to what the law specifically states. The school city is eligible for the funds, but when I took it to Francisconi in LaPorte, when he was superintendent over there, he knew nothing about this Indiana law, about the 15% available to these school districts. People get elected to a position and they sit there and they get their paycheck and they move on, but they don't look at the details of what's available. You've got a superintendent, Wendell. He's making a tidy sum. He has a tidy salary.
I agree, probably not enough.
But yet you've got financial people like a controller that should know that.
Yeah, somebody should know this. But see, everybody in this community keeps everything a secret. It's all a secret. And the bottom line is the city doesn't grow and develop and mature into something bigger and better. Going back to the flock system, it's not a secret anymore, criminals out there in Michigan City. You come to Michigan City at midnight, you're going to be identified. You're going to be identified, your license plate will be identified, and if you want to have some stupid hanky-panky going on in Washington Park, we're going to get you.
Let's go back to July 4th. You're coming down to brass tacks. So, Michigan City Redevelopment Commission should have given a $1.5 to $2 million a year to the school
Sure.
if they asked. And they didn't ask, and they didn't get. So now you're getting a double dip. So the money that the redevelopment area is getting off the redevelopment growth is not going to schools, and now you're being asked, what, $22 a month to get paid for a new referendum. So you're getting hit twice. Yeah. And how long are you going to accept? I suspect, and I haven't heard yet, but I guarantee you someone will bring this up, probably on social media, which I do not really spend any time on. They want to know how much Michigan City School District has paid somebody to sell this new $80 million bond. I guarantee you there's a firm out there that they've hired to try to make you believe this is a good thing.
They mentioned Baker Tilly, I believe.
No, there's like an advertising firm that will go around and try to put out good words and good deeds about how this $80 million is needed. And I would support this on one condition. If Michigan City would take all this money and give it to teachers and their salaries. Take the base rate they get now and add this $80 million onto it so we get the best teachers in the United States in Michigan City schools for the best output of our students, because we need our students to be ready and prepared, and we need Michigan City to be the top place of the United States with the best teachers, because that brings in more students into your school at what? I think $7,000 or $8,000 per student per year. Far better than the $80 million you're going to extract.
I'm going to interject just a little bit because I don't disagree about the teacher pay. But where I start to see we need to do it is in summer school where kids are lacking. We need to pay those teachers for that summer school for teaching there. Maybe after school hours to sit down and teach. That's where that money
100%.
needs to go.
All that money. Get the best teachers.
Since 2018, Indiana law basically mandated this 15% to be made available to the schools. Schools didn't know anything about it, according to everything I know. But since 2018, and then in 2022, when I bring the issue up publicly, mysteriously, the Redevelopment Commission, through Baker Tilly, their eyes were opened, but they were still shortchanging the school system $600,000 a year since 2018. So how many, what does that add up to? It's 18, 19, 20. For 8 years at 6,000, 6 times 8 is, it's over almost $5 million. The Redevelopment Commission has shortchanged the school city. You take that $5 million and you apply it to this bond issue you subtract that amount from the 260 a year, and then let's do some talking.
That was $5 million that you didn't pay interest to get. This bond issue has an interest rate.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be a very interesting city election year. I guarantee you there's going to be people that put together how much more in every instance that they are paying per month to the city. Sewer, water, school, Those are all costs that are going on every Michigan City person as an extra cost. Is it $100 more a month? Is it $200 or more a month for every Michigan City property owner? Get ready, because that's going to be the issue you see in next year's election.
And I've taken my documentation to school board members over these last 4 years, and it goes on deaf ears. The only one that really showed some interest was Mr. Domkowski. And I pointed it out to him, cut and dry. And I showed him these figures. He recognizes what's going on. You notice if you watch the Redevelopment Commission meetings, he's never there in his seat anymore, because I think he's basically given up on the numbnuts that are sitting there at the Redevelopment Commission, doling out $2 million here and $4 million there for speculative property south of town. That's pathetic.
I got a question for both of you. Why did they put this referendum on this fall's election? A, they had to put it in a general election by law.
Well, yeah.
So they put it on this fall because they think there's a low turnout and there's a better chance of passing. Do you think it'll pass? $80 million in Michigan City. I think it's an uphill battle, and I think the answer is no.
I don't think it'll pass.
It
But
won't pass.
again, it depends on the turnout.
But somebody has to make the public aware that this referendum is on the
They
ballot.
will. They will.
Yeah, but we're doing it early. We're doing it
The
early.
problem is is this going to include the entire Michigan City area school corporation, or does
Yes.
well, wait a minute, let me finish. Or is it just Michigan City? Because every time Dave talks about this, he fails to tell you that the outlying areas do not participate in this. The civil city is the one that is getting the whack for this.
Outside areas,
Long Beach,
they pay school tax.
but they don't pay the ones he's talking about.
Yeah.
They
No, I'm talking about basically TIP district residents.
Yes.
Anyone in the school district will be hit with this.
with this referendum.
This referendum.
Right, you're right.
Everyone.
But I want to make the point that the problem with what Dave's talking about is this puts a civil city at Michigan City paying the entire fee, unless the school city is going to say, we will spend this money entirely on Michigan City residents, not on the outlying areas.
And I don't disagree with your argument. I'm just saying that I exposed this back in 2022, and because of the mindset of this community, it goes on deaf ears. Nobody wants to address it. Why? Why? Why do they want to continue to cover it up? We pay lawyers. We pay lawyers a fee to expose this.
We're going to have to talk about this, but it's a social situation. Basically, what you have happening, and it's happening throughout the country, it's just not here. Families are having fewer and fewer children.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
In addition to that,
If any.
we have many people that are cohabiting together, not married, they don't have any kids. There's been a number of studies, I'll give you one. Women who reach the age of 29 have already decided they don't want to have any children, which means that if they even get married, they're not interested in having children. Children do not play as much of a role in life today as they did 40 or 50 years ago. And as a result of that, that's what's filtering back down into the system. Now, you can argue, should we change this? If we should, how do we go about doing that? But that's a huge cultural problem. And one of the situations you have is that people just don't think about the school systems the way they used to. My mother and every mother in our neighborhood belonged to the PTA. If I went back to that same neighborhood, I bet you if there's 2 out of 20 that belong to the PTA,
You'd be lucky.
I'd be shocked.
You'd be shocked.
But we elect school board members to basically have some concept of a structure to run a school system. There are people just sitting there.
Do you think you would get better school board members, and I think it would have been better off the school board to put in their budget a pay raise for school board members? If you're going to get paid $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a year to be a school member, who do you think you're really going to get? I think they should earn $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, because this is not an easy job. And maybe you would entice really, really talented people on your school board. I think the school board needs to pass a budget, and I know why they won't, because they figure that if no one wants to get paid, no one's going to run against them. If you said they're getting paid $20,000 a year, I think the city council gets paid too little. I think most councils are getting paid way too little. How are you going to attract, and we know this is true, how are you going to attract the talent to run your, Michigan City is what, a $50-some billion operation, the mayor gets what, $100,000 or $90,000? it's what do you think's going to happen? I mean, CEOs are making millions because they're running billion-dollar operations and they are required to produce results. And school board, I think, is really woefully underpaid. I wouldn't run for it. What, $2,000, $100 a meeting, whatever they get?
Well, they get, I believe, 10% of the lowest teacher's salary
So
within
$3,000?
within the system.
$2,500.
So yeah, if they're making what, 46,000 a year?
The lowest salary is
The
going to
lowest
be like 25 or 30.
Yeah. So they get a percentage of the lowest salary. That's based on state law.
That's not enough.
That's based on state
Or
law.
pass a referendum, ask some state law to change it.
Yeah.
Because we need the best people. School
But-
board, council, teachers, administrators, we need the best.
But to continue to force onto the senior citizen organization here in town an additional $260 a year taxes on their property, when the water rates are going to go up, the sanitary rates are going to go up. I've exposed areas that second, third, and fourth ward are paying a tax for cleaning out ditches, and they get no services from the sanitary district. Their money gets kited someplace else. I have exposed a lot of stuff in this town, but it continues to go on deaf ears. I'd like to know why.
You bring up a good point. Next year is a 2-year budget cycle in the state. The school board, I think, has to do this fall, win or lose. Because next year, the Republicans have put in their caucus and their platform that they are going to take away property taxes for, I don't know who, maybe everyone, we hope, and replace it with a tax on services. And maybe the legislature will say, listen, we took away the property taxes so people can own their homes. We're not going to let you add school taxes, which would lose your home if you don't pay the $22 a month.
Yeah.
So I think they knew that their only chance was to get this done in November, knowing they have a possibility to grandfather it in come next budget session. We're going to watch. This is going to be very interesting. You could read the tea leaves here.
Well, the only thing I want to go back to, though, yes, we need good teachers and we have to attract them. We also have to start to work with students who are probably 2, 3, 4 years of age in getting them to be able to read. And if you go off that Mississippi plan, and so many states are using parts of it, they basically say that you have to be able to read by the time you get through the 3rd grade. If you can't read by the time you get through 3rd grade decently, you are stunted for the rest of your life. That is something we're going to have to deal with, and we're going to have to deal with at a very early age. It took the state of Mississippi that developed the plan to start with 10 years to bring that to full bearing. Because when you start, then it's the 3rd grade. By the time you get these people all the way through the school system, it makes a huge difference. That's how Mississippi went from 50th to 16th on some of these polls.
Yeah. And going back to an issue pertaining to Microsoft and the school city of LaPorte, under a unique tax agreement, Microsoft will pay its property taxes in full, with 15% directly funding the LaPorte Community School Corporation. Superintendent Sandra Wood notes, this is an unprecedented revenue and will reverse the decades of student enrollment and declines to bring missing opportunities to the area. I just heard on the radio this morning from Senator Arnold, former Senator Arnold, that the LaPorte's Community School Corporation is considering allowing residents of the state of Michigan to come in to the LaPorte school system. They just have to figure out the funding mechanism.
No, they're allowing residents from every other state in the union, not just Michigan.
Well, I'm just going by what he said.
So Michigan City Area Schools is asking for an $80 million bond issue, and how much is the city of LaPorte asking for?
Nothing.
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
Amazing, because they got the money from
Microsoft.
And
And we have Google. We have Google here, and I've got documentation
How that happened?
of Google.
That's
What
pretty
are they
amazing.
contributing? What are they contributing to the Michigan City area schools? According to
not enough. You got an $80 million bond.
According to the mayor, she has a wish list. According to Dermody, he's got documentation.
He's got money right to the
There's
school.
2 things you're going to have to do. First of all, to really know how this breaks out. And remember, there's a higher valuation on Microsoft and LaPorte than there is on
Yeah, it's $1 billion versus $832
because
million
Google
versus billions.
started out by doing us a big favor, taking over an area that was industrially zoned.
But we can't
that
live in the
had a-
past.
that
The
had a
past is-
building-
the past is the
that had
past,
a
Bob.
building that was abandoned 20 years ago.
The past-
Microsoft goes in and picks up a very nice parcel. They don't have to worry about environmental
The
damage
past
and
is
all
the
that.
past.
You
We
never
can't,
look at both
we have
sides.
to take our experiences of the past and invest them in the future.
Let's just see-
LaPorte is doing it, Michigan City is
Let's
not.
just see. a
Simple
couple of
as that.
things.
They're not doing
Number
it.
one, how much do they actually pay in taxes? You got to look at the real dollar
On
amount.
17 new buildings that Microsoft is putting into LaPorte, that's going to be a ton of
You're
money.
not listening to me. You have to look at the dollar value. Now, the next thing you have to do is look at how much they've contributed. So if they're making contributions to the Industrial Development Committee, if they're making contributions.
$1 million to the Redevelopment Commission, who is kiting the school system. They're $600,000 a
You got to
year.
add all that
You
in.
got the entity within the city of Michigan City not contributing their fair
This
share
thing goes
into the
way-
development of the community. You
This
don't.
thing goes way back. Why LaPorte could never beat us in basketball.
That is immaterial, Bob. That is an immaterial statement. What you have here
They
is
continue
the
to
almighty
lose
dollar.
No matter what they did.
The almighty dollar is dictating policy
I'm
in
telling
LaPorte,
you,
and
21
it's
years in a
burying
row,
Michigan
they
City.
continued to lose.
I want to throw something here. It's only got 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
You got to be very careful, and we better get our money quick. Here's an article from Zero Hedge. I wanted to bring it up real quick. I got 2 minutes. World's largest data center project on verge of collapse after Blackstone unexpectedly pulls out. We have all these data centers coming in.
Yep.
Blackstone, the biggest equity partner, just pulled out of the world's largest data center.
That's one in Oregon.
I think it's in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Be very careful. These guys, we said this before, Google, Microsoft, Amazon are you typically not the owners. It's a third party they're leasing from. Be very careful. We are lucky we got Google and we got Microsoft owning these. These third party ones, getting the rug pulled. There you go. You got 1 minute. 1 minute, 4th of July.
Hey, I'm proud of this old flag. I stood behind it. Bob stood behind it. And we provided you viewing audience an opportunity for a better way of life. And that's freedom. And that's what this flag stands for. And like, what's his name? You can't take that away. Freedom, you can't take that away. But there are worms out there trying to initiate socialism in our society, and that's never going to happen as far as I can, if I have any say-so about it. I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvements or criticism of this program is greatly appreciated. Please contact show's co-producers Bob Pollock, Dave Vila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djvila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailagm@yahoo.com. Or you may direct any ideas for any future shows to our one and only staff writer, Sarah Bellum. Showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m., also Monday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m., and numerous times throughout the week when Tony has some dead air, or when Andy has some dead air to fill. You may also enjoy watching our program on 99 Navigate News and Views, and this guy is responsible for it, so don't blame me, blame him if you can't see it. I want to thank everybody for watching. Happy birthday, United States of America, and make it a good day.